Imagine being a data engineer working on your project. You are ready to train your model with great efficiency, but there's a catch. Being a data engineer is not an easy task. You have to deal with a lot of issues, and some of which are lack of quality image resources, hidden biases and errors in the model, poor quality models because of poor quality images. And all these issues can be a nightmare for any data engineer working in this field. So instead of grappling with such issues, why don't we take matters into our own hand? Why don't we create our own image? Creating our own image has various advantages. Firstly, we have the power to dictate control over the image quality. Secondly, we have the ability to customize the image according to our own needs. And lastly, we have the rights of ownership and licensing. Like we don't have to rely on protocols of other data providing organizations. We can use this data however we want. And here's where our model VisualBlend comes into the picture. So first of all, I would like to demonstrate how our model is going to help in that particular situation. So here we are going to feed the existing data set of images to our VisualBlend model, and through the magic of deep learning, our model is going to intricate features and patterns from the existing data set, and it's going to generate a new high quality realistic image that resembles the original image to an extreme level. So with this we have abundant resources of data in just in our fingertips. So let's see what VisualBlend actually is. So VisualBlend is a revolutionary model specifically designed for image-based data. Here we will give an input image or sketch to our model, and behind the scenes our model is going to employ probabilistic denoising diffusion technology to the image to analyze the image, and it's going to generate a new high quality realistic image that has pretty good resemblance with the original one. So this is the image which we have got.
Coming to the methodology, our basic methodology starts with the designing the architecture of the system. Then we talk about data collection, data preparation, and user interface. Coming to the architecture, let us first I would like to explain you about the diffusion models, what they are basically, and then I would move towards the latent diffusion models, which are just the upgraded version of it, and then I will talk about how we exactly change the diffusion model, latent diffusion, to meet our needs. There is a difference between data augmentation and data synthesis. Data augmentation is basically skewing existing data, like you are trying to upscale it or downscale it, or you are zooming it and shearing it. This task does not result in new data, but in generative, using this generative capability, we are basically generating a whole new data which resembles the original existing data set. So considering about the diffusion block, the Z diffusion block is basically divided into two sections: forward process and reverse process. The above you can see is the forward process, and this one is the reverse process. In forward process, let's assume that Z is the input and it is an image. Let us assume in our case it's an image. Then in the forward process, what we basically do is we iteratively add a Gaussian distribution noise, and we generate a timestamp and noisy image. So the beautiful property of the Gaussian distribution is, if we know the timestamp, we could predict the exact amount of the noise that has been added to a real data. So Z here represents the purely existing data set sample, and iteratively we add the noise to the image until we get the Z capital T, where capital T represents the end of the timestamp, that is final timestamp, where final is the fully ZT is basically a fully random noised image. Now this is the forward process, and then ZT will be fed into a as you can see, this is a UNet type architecture. ZT will be fed directly into a UNet kind of architecture, and it will result basically by the main goal of this UNet architecture is to generate a noise from the image iteratively, which can then be subtracted from a noisy image to get a partially noisy image. And while doing so, while getting the partially noisy image, if we have done this iteratively and if everything is done correctly, then we would get a fully random image, fully new sample of image from a random data. So the main problem in the diffusion model is diffusion. Let's assume that Z is the image. I am not talking about HD images. If I am also talking about like 256 dimensional images, then too the weight matrix become too huge. So we kind of encounter this issue by we solve this issue by using the compressing power of the autoencoders. Autoencoders basically consisting of encoder and decoder block, where given an input as an image, it can generate a sample, it can generate a latent space, which is a compressed version of that particular image, and then it can be directly fed into the UNet kind of architecture, the whole diffusion process. And Z we get here is then again sent to a decoder block to get the final new generated image. So this basically allows us to compress the quality and makes the whole system efficient. Now, talking about this is the forward diffusion process and reverse diffusion. In forward diffusion, given a xt minus 1 sample, we assume the posterior probability of xt sample, and in the reverse we are basically adding the noise in this process, and in reverse diffusion we are removing the noise iteratively. That is, we give the xth image, partially noisy image, and what we predict is the noise is then subtracted from an image to get the xt minus 1 output, which is less noisy than xt. So our methodology consists of basically we do not want a random output, right? We want a guided output, and for the guidance we are basically the dimension of the input to the diffusion is height comma width comma 3 because of the color channels RGB. But as we have to guide it towards the certain goal to achieve accuracy as perfect to the C sketch and C stroke, that is stroke given as an input, we are appending the input channel, we are appending this C sketch of the one color channel and C stroke of the 3 color channel RGB into the input. So our input dimension does not input dimension is not just the height comma width comma 3, but it has total of height comma width comma 7 color channels. This was all about the R methodology, diffusion architecture. Now I will try to explain the data collection preparation phase. In the data collection, we are using 3 already existing data sets, which is AFSQ GET, UGET, IT Landscape, and Oxford Flower. They are pretty huge data sets, and in the data preparation phase, we are applying various pre-processing techniques. We just have the realistic image. So how do we get the sketch and stroke information from it? So to get the sketch information, we are using OpenCV. A grad cut method is to extract the foreground and background information, and then we are using basically edge detection techniques in the OpenCV to get the sketch of the data. And for the stroke, we are using already existing architecture, paint transformer, and while using paint transformer, what we get is the stroke of the image.
So coming to the result point, here we provide the sketch from which first we provide the sketch, then it will extract the sketch from the sketch block, and if there is any stroke then it will also extract, but here we have provided only sketch. So based on this sketch, it has generated the realistic image of the sketch. So in this result we have given a sketch and a slightly stroke. So in we can see that over here it has only extracted a sketch, and over here it has extracted a stroke, and based on these parameter it has generated the realistic image, and the realistic image totally resembles the sketch we have provided. Now coming to the third result, here we have given slightly more stroke. We can see that the stroke is presented on the orange color and the green color and red color. So first it extracts the sketch and then the stroke, and then it will produce the realistic image. So we have calculated the quality of image based on the 2 parameters, that is FID and LPIPS. So FID score is 24.02 and LPIPS score is 0.172. So FID basically stands for feature inception distance. FID measures the similarity between the 2 sets of image, real and generated image, by comparing their feature representation. it calculates the distance between the mean vectors and the variance matrices of the feature which are extracted from pre-trained inception V3 model. And the low FID square, it is indicate that the generated image is more similar to the real image, real in the sense of statistic of features. Now coming to the LPIPS, so basically LPIPS is a metric which is used to measure the consistency of a synthesized image over the input sketch. The low LPIPS square indicate that the generated image is more visually characteristic to the sketch, and it usually range between 0 to 1. Coming to the result, here is the 3 data set on which we have trained our model, and we have evaluated the FID and LPIPS square respectively. This conclusion, first it provide creative control, means user can decide how their output will look like based on the input of sketch and stroke provided by the user, and it also allows for the customization of the input. Second is data synthesis. By enabling the generation of image from sketch and stroke, it addresses the problem of data synthesis, which is very important for generating a large data set. Third is high quality image. This model generates high quality image which can be used for various applications like merchandise design, animation, and pet and food supply marketing, etc. Third is generation from partial sketch. Our model is that much robust that it can generate the image from the partial sketch. If you provide the partial sketch of a cat, it can generate the full realistic image of the cat based on the partial sketch. These are the reference. That's all. Thank you.